back everyone for some more Phoenix Wright, Trials and Tribulations. And we are going to begin day 2 of the trial in the case against Maggie Bird. And we found a lot of interesting stuff in the day 2 of the investigation, and hopefully we have enough of the case in order to get Maggie's acquittal. But before we do that, hopefully you guys have an awesome day today. Hopefully you guys doing well. So without further ado, January 8th, 9:46 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 1. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Maggie. So, what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well and ended on a giant mystery. That is true. And we still haven't solved a single part of it yet. Are you okay, Nick? Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes. No, that wasn't doubt. That was, determination. Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggie. You'd better get going to the dependency. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you. Hey, pal. Hey, Detective Gumshoe. Quit stressing Maggie out. She doesn't need that. But how'd you know she was stressed? I was watching through the doorway. Oh. You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Huh? Have you taken up aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing. Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of those aromatherapy bottles. This is the small bottle that turned up in Tribulations' kitchen a couple days ago. Wow, look at these little bottles. Look at all these little bottles. Oh, they're aromatherapy oils. He's got so many they're overflowing onto the floor. Hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others. Well, what do you know? And it doesn't have a label either. And it doesn't smell. We finally got the analysis results back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it the poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication? Yeah, for ears. Topical use only, apparently. For ears, you mean? Yeah, it's the medication Glenn Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum. What was Glenn Elg's ear medicine doing in the kitchen? Small bottle refiled into the court record the victim's ear medicine, found covered in unidentified fingerprints in the kitchen. What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that? Someone screwed up so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but... that's gonna weaken its impact as a piece of evidence. Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today, got it? Today's trial. I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done, or my name isn't Phoenix Wright. January 8th, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom Number 4. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie Bird. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Ready and waiting as always, Your Honor. Very good, then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The mark on the rim of the cup shows that the victim drank from it with his right hand, but according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Cadeau. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet, the victim's left eardrum was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, isn't it? This guy and his coffee, I tell you. Ha! Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it. You've lost me already, Mr. Godot. Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You've got to change with the times. That's one of my rules. Are you implying that you resolve these contradictions? You know the answer to these riddles. The old guy wasn't just throwing seed in here, he was throwing us off the scent. And today I'll prove it. Very well, let the first witness take the stand. And you are? Oh, bonjour everyone. I am Jean Armstrong, the owner and head chef of La Tribulations restaurant Enchanté. Forgive me for asking, witness, but are you a woman? Oh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I am le pert and a perky gentleman, no? On the day of the incident, you were in Tribulations' kitchen. Isn't that right? Was you, monsieur? Everything feels right. Huh. Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy? Very well, your testimony please, witness. Hey there, Kevin. 3D All-Stars. I really should get back to playing some Mario 64 and Sunshine, but anyway, please tell the court what happened that day at Tribulations. Oui, volontiers. Witness testimony at Tribulations. When it all happened, there were just 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art decos that day. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example. Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. The cup, the earpiece, and the glasses, he would have seen everything in reverse, no? Mirror? Oui, un grand mirror. The most enormous mirror. And suddenly the mystery disappears. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front. What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. I'm gonna go ahead and save in case I mess up. Okay, cross-examination. Okay. 2 customers, new deco art, large mirror. That's what the old man might have been looking at. Oh! I didn't mean to press that, I'm sorry. Hey Nick, we should take a seat and look at what CD said in his testimony. How did he phrase it again? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as green lens of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear without a doubt. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. If he saw everything he described reflected in the mirror, then everything he said he saw on the left was actually on the right. Next clears up all the probative testimony, I guess, or does it? Huh. It's kind of hard to believe everything's all the mirror, but do you think old CD saw everything through a reflection? If he did, it would explain all the contradictions of his testimony. But that just makes the situation worse for Maggie. There's gotta be something in our old man's testimony. We just gotta dig deeper. Yeah, I didn't mean to press I did not mean to press this statement. I meant to actually present. And I am going to present this. The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong, it was his left ear without a doubt. So, to summarize, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw all that as a reflection in the mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side. Exactement, you see, monsieur. Now, Zach, you think about it, it is not so hard, no. Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in the mirror, why is it that the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order, order, Mr. Wright is correct. If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in the mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye. How bitter. Trite, you should have had taste of his bitterness. It'll calm me down in no time. Are we talking about your coffee or something completely different? You don't understand the way the witness thinks. How he thinks? You remember this, I presume? I broke the vase, sorry, apology, Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony? Exactly, the old man has one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elk? Clearly it's a victim's eyepiece. And that's my point, the old man strikes again. Mr. Elk's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear. Huh. Well, Trey? Ugh. That's the worst but best impression of Kudo ever. Wow, I really thought he was old seedy for a minute there. Kudo's good. Enough. I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony. Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boy over contradiction you found is just a rash. A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on, tell the court. We're all ears. I can explain. Please, if you look at the plans of the restaurant. Witness testimony. The mirror. Allure, is everything sitting comfortably? The mirror, it was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There is only one seat from which you could have seen an image of the victim. That was the seat at the table next to the victims. That was where the old man was sitting. After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. I see no problems with the explanation we just heard. From the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this. Don't worry about it. We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in the cold sweat over there again. Ah, I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volontiers, of course. I guess I'm pronouncing that right. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination if you please. Hopefully I don't mess up this time. Good thing is I didn't mess up too bad before. Cross-examination, the mirror. Okay, the mirror is in the middle of the restaurant. There's only one seat you could have seen the victim. Let's see.
Objection!
This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we have heard, Your Honor. The crime photo? Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright? Should not exist? Sounds like you're describing yourself, Trey. Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is the something that should not exist in this photo? Well, one thing that shouldn't exist in the photo is this.
Take that!
I think it's pretty obvious that this is what should not be in the picture. The vase? What possible connection does that have to do with the witness's testimony? Your Honor, I'm telling you that there should have been no vase on this table. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. There's one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not in fact sitting at the table next to the victim at all.
Objection!
Don't be an idiot, Trey. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from. Exactly. There's only one conclusion we could draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Tribulation that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie. Mon Dieu!
Objection!
Don't try to confuse the court, Trey. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene. Unfortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary. In his own words, I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Bingo. Rage drinking. Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day. In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear which he couldn't hear? You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Trey, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it. Are you gonna be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick? There's more than just this one contradiction, Maya. What do you mean? Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table, and there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up. Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer. Let's go ahead and save this. Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. Victim was a phony. This case is riddled with contradictions, yet there is one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter, a phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. Order in the court. Settle down and I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Trey, are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning, all for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo. Get real, Trey. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was... The servant girl brought him a Javachino, but she put something in it. That's the servant girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. It's so hard to believe, but... There was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee. Excuse me. Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but... It's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. Well, that's right. Well, witness? If the restaurant really was a scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct? Oh, la la. This is most difficult for me. No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Trey Beyond that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day. Witness testimony in the restaurant. The victim, Monsieur Elg, he came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won the lottery, Mo Elg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. No, there was no time for a phony to do the acting. Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all. Je vous demande pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly. What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later. But For now, we will hear your cross-examination, Mr. Wright, if you please. He took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. Okay, cross-examination in the restaurant. Okay. Came to his restaurant alone. He remembers the old man arrived long after him. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct? Oui, he comes often for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You're most welcome any time. I said it was worth one sip, and nothing more. So old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. I'm gonna ask what time it was. Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived? Oh no, I cannot remember, monsieur. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. The crime scene was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man, sir. Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 and 2:10, no? Just after 2, huh? Thank you for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful. I can't stay here all the time and do nothing now, can I? The time of day will be out of the witness's testimony. Oui, monsieur judge. Everything I do it for you. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood. He's even humming a song to himself. I remember the old man arrived not long after him, just after 2 p.m. Okay. Now I think it's time. Where is it at? Here we go.
Objection!
I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. What? What do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Hey there, recorder-ometer. Oui, that must be the show Monsieur Elk was listening to. I can't see any problem with his testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder... You say the victim arrived at the restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Oui, I am sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was that time because I had just finished serving the lunch menu. Get to the point, Trey, if you have one. That show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. and it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30? No, supposedly the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cry of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. No! This victim we've been told about has done nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There's only one conclusion you can draw from these facts. This victim was an imposter, acting out the poison 30 minutes after the real murder. Excuse me. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs and Trey Beyond that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer, and the phony Glen Elg acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness. It certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how could you explain the time discrepancy?
Objection!
Quite a performance, Trey. You were almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of rhythm to build your song. What is this, Music Theory 101? Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony Elg is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain then where the real Glen Elg is? I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court. However, at that time the real Glen Elg was already dead. That's certainly the obvious conclusion.
Objection!
Thank you, Trey. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say. What? Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours? Can you explain where the missing corpse went to? The missing corpse? According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glen Elg, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim? The prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution question. Where did the killer hide the body? Yes, Your Honor. Let's go ahead and save. No conjecture, Trey. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden. The evidence? What's with the intense questioning all of a sudden? I thought I had him with that contradiction. But he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead. Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Mr. L concealed? Well, it was inside Tribulation. It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside. Obviously, the body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tribulation. Interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. The exact location where the body was concealed inside Tribulation is here. The body was hidden here. I see. Nice supposition. But the real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location? And it happens to be a piece of evidence that Mr. Gumshoe gave us at the beginning of this episode. Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle? No. I have never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality only for me. Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tribulation. Eh? Quoi? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils. But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication. What kind of medication? I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? That Mr. Elk visited an otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. I know I messed up his pronunciation, I don't care. But you can't be serious. The defense had the contents of the bottle analyzed and had the lab results here. The contents of that bottle matched the prescription that was given to Mr. Elk. Glenn Elk's murderer hid the body in a restaurant kitchen, at which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen? Mon Dieu! Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggie Bird. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back. Order! This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenn Elk? Never. I could not do such a horrible thing. Whoa. Godot is not happy. Mr. Godot? The bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules. Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now? Then I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear, my H-deficient friend? Je vous demande pardon? Please, you must hear me out. It is a trap. Listen to me. Por favor. That's Spanish. Yo habla español, Mr. Armstrong. Por favor is Spanish. I'm only gonna ask you once. Did you do it? No. No. Absolutely no. Let's hear it. You got one shot. Right, Gramps? Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you. As does my gavel. It is clear. Why do I always say that in movies? I've got a bad feeling about this. You must watch a lot of Star Wars. Very well, begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong. Witness testimony. The confession. It is true, I ate the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. But I did not kill him. I swear it. You must believe me. You were forced? By who? I cannot say, or I will be erased. Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elk died, was he really the only person at the table? There was. There was another man. I knew it. Maggie was telling the truth. You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer. And I think I know how to do that. Cross-examination, the confession. Okay, it's true he hid the body. A man forced him to do it. Well, said man is this guy. Let's send this dance and ring around the rosy, Mr. Armstrong. This is the man that you've been referring to. Ah, who is that? I feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, I don't know. Maybe a month ago in this very courtroom? This man is Furio Tigre. He's the manager of a loan office called Sender Lender. There's no point trying to hide the truth anymore, Mr. Armstrong. I know you couldn't go against Mr. Tigre, at least not while he had this on ye. And it happens to be this. A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything, this man told you. It is as you say. Mr. Armstrong. The tiger, he told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting the victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body and the inconscient Maggie out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen. I think we can now safely say that the man who forced your hand was Mr. Furio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison in the lottery ticket that we found in the defendant's apron pocket, was that your doing as well? No, I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggie who had done it, I was not. It is despicable. Which I despicable, like, oh, however you say it in French. Mr. Godot, you will summon the Furio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we'll adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. "30 minutes. What? The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more. Don't sit back and relax yet, Trey. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way." Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. And that will be it for this episode. And the next time I see you guys, we will be hearing the testimony of Furio Tigre, which should be interesting enough. But hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. I'll be seeing you guys again next time.